Ladies and gentlemen, have a good day. Much of what I want to go over are generally things I've gone over several times, but as I have seen, there is a need for constant refreshments because there are people eager to learn, just as there are people eager to fight the truth. I woke up this morning to see that a good friend of mine, Engineer Ihana Cho Malaki, shared a video with me. The title was Igbos and the Jewish claim or something of that nature. Because I have worked on this subject for over 2 decades, written 20 books about it, mentored scholars, I did not think I really needed to get into all that. But I decided to touch the play button, and I'm happy I did. I think I better read out a summary of what this lady said in a video. By the way, this lady is older. Taking a look at her features, you would see that this would be a woman in definitely above 70, which would mean some decades older than me. I noted. I just looked at a video by one older lady, likely Israeli. She has an Israeli accent, who said she lived in Igbo land. She mentioned where she lived also, the university town of Nsukka. She was discussing the matter of Igbo claim that Igbos are of Jewish origins. When I heard the word claimed, what claim would mean to me is not what it would mean to an American or maybe a Briton. If I see the word claims, it means that the question of the origins of the Igbos as Israelites is still in debate. And since I do not hear that the Ashkenazi, the Sephardi, the Mizrahi, the Beta Israel claims that they are Israelites or Jews, I'm really pissed off when I hear or read that Igbos can only claim to be Israelites if they want to use the word claim. Igbos cannot claim to be Jewish. But the word claimed pisses me off. A lot of her findings or a lot of her observations are helpful. This was what I observed when I decided to listen all through. But she also has so much to learn. She said that pork, that is meat from pigs, was totally absent in the Igbo diet. She was stating the truth. When I was growing up, in my republic of 39,000 persons, not a single family had pigs. When I was growing up, in a republic of 39,000 persons, bordered by Newi, which had over 50,000 persons, not a single family had pigs, but everybody had chickens, and most had goats and sheep. And this woman was very observant. She said she knew when a non-Igbo introduced pigs in that community, and the Igbos did not patronize. Interestingly, when we were growing up, we did not correlate not having pigs with being Israelites. We simply took it for granted that the only meat we as Igbos could eat was chicken and goats. This lady also noted that Igbos systematically circumcised their males on the 8th day. And very importantly, she compared it to what you find in Africa and what I would compare to the rest of the world. And I am saying, wherever you find people systematically for centuries in the past circumcising their males on the 8th day, if they have done this for centuries, you are looking at people who were connected to the ancient Israelites. People assume that circumcision was rampant in Africa. It's 50-50. But as she noted, outside the Igbo community, in those places you found people circumcising in Africa, it was done as a rite of puberty from 12 to 18 years. But in the Igbo case, it was when they were 8 years. And it was done systematically. And she said she observed that Igbos did not know how people could not circumcise their males on the 8th day. We continue. She also observed that Igbos would not eat meat with blood in the meat. You need to watch this video. She described the Igbo method of slaughter. Not mechanical, not electric, not electronic, but Igbos ensured that all the blood left the meat. Then she also talked about ritual purity, that the Igbo man would not have any communications at all, not only of the intimate kind, when the wife was having her menstrual flow. Igbos built a house where menstruating women would stay until they had fully passed through that stage. Then they would go for a ritual bath. It was so rigorous. Igbos told us how the Israelites of the Bible would have related to that state. She also compared a fissure in Omenala. Interestingly, she mentioned the word Obi and compared an Igbo practice with a Jewish practice. She said that the Igbo men will go to the Obi for public worship, as the Jewish men were expected to do, while the women could remain at home. Why did she get into this cultural analysis? According to her, DNA had been used to find out if Igbos were related to the Israelites, and according to her, she made a mistake. This is where she made a mistake. She said that rabbis in Israel had studied the Igbo DNA. No rabbi in Israel studied the Igbo DNA. And no rabbi in Israel will study the Igbo DNA. If rabbis in Israel will study the Igbo DNA, rabbis in Israel will study the Jewish DNA. No rabbi in Israel conducted such a study. A Christian group based in Arizona alleged that he studied the Igbo DNA. And that Christian group was exposed to have been up to dirty tricks. They did not compare the Igbo DNA to anything. And even if they did, the basis of their comparison was entirely faulty. I will continue reading. I will read. She said that rabbis in Israel studied Igbo DNA and found it wasn't Jewish DNA. And I said, unless a Christian organization became part of the Israeli chief rabbinate just last night, because I'm not aware that such a thing happened, even though some Israeli academics, Jewish academics, had, without bothering to investigate, simply relying on what they read on Wikipedia, in Google and on Facebook, claimed that DNA studies of Igbos had been done and that it did not show that Igbos were Jewish. It's a regret we should all have that even academics don't want to do their homework. Unless a Christian organization became part of the Israeli chief rabbinate last night, no Israeli rabbis studied Igbo DNA and found it was not Jewish. Only the Christian group I just mentioned alleged that it had been, and that group, as I said, has been exposed to have been up to tricks. Another important matter is, why even study the Igbo DNA to see if it correlates with Jewish DNA? Why not study the Igbo DNA to see if it is Igbo? Why not study the Igbo DNA to see if it is Hebrew DNA? Didn't the Hebrews exist? Didn't the Israelites exist? I'm asking all these questions because I already know the answers, and if you are a follower of Remy Ilona, you would have known the answers. The answers are, there is nothing in the world like a Jewish DNA, just like there is nothing in the world like a British DNA. There is nothing in the world like an Arab DNA. These things don't exist. And I don't think I need to go into why they don't exist. From inception, I'm entering where I did not want to go again. Human beings have mixed. Perchance you find the DNA, perchance you find the body parts of somebody that lived in Israel 3,000 years ago. How are you going to be sure that you found the body parts of an Israelite? The Gibeonites became part of the Israelite people. The Gibeonites. The Kenites became part of the Israelite people. Caleb was a Kenite. Did he not become a part of the Israelite people? Okay, let us assume that you even find Absalom, who was 100% Israelite because the father was Israelite. Where did the mother come from? The mother was the daughter of the king of Geshur. So half of Absalom, the son of King David, was already not Israelite. Assuming you find the body part of King David, David's grandmother was Moabitess, great-grandmother Ruth. So, fortunately, academics have moved on. They have realized that nothing like Jewish, Hebrew, Igbo, Israelite DNA will exist. But still, because this group that suffered criminal colonialism, the Igbos, are annoyingly subjected to skepticism, some people have taken it upon themselves to even look at DNA. I studied my DNA markers. The results are in the public domain. The result of my own DNA markers are in the public domain. It shows very clearly that the Igbo people migrated from the Middle East, where the ancestors of where the Israelites once lived. This is conclusive proof that the Igbos are lineal descendants of the Israelites, and some rabbis have decided to look in. Obadiah Alliance is a Sephardi Jewish organization. It raised a Bedin. A Bedin is a religious court. Whatever rulings this court came out with became part of Jewish law. It is binding on Jews. They studied everything available about the Igbo people. And they came out with the ruling that the Igbo people are lineal descendants of the Israelites. The Igbos are not latching on to this to say they want to make any claims on anybody, because Igbos have much more on their plate than what some people assume that Igbos want to do earlier. Igbos have 30,000 square miles of territory given to them and to all the house of Israel to take care of. Just as the Lord God of Israel gave the land of Israel to the Israelite people, the Lord God of Israel gave what you call Igbo land today to all the people of Israel. The Igbos are holding it in trust for the God of Israel and for the people of Israel. The Ashkenazi Jews are holding the land of Israel in trust for the God of Israel and for all the Israelites, including myself. She also skirted the borders of one subject that provoked me too. She said that Igbos said they came from one tribe of Israel, one lost tribe of Israel. Only the uneducated Igbos will say this. Only the uninformed Igbos will say this. No educated Igbo on this subject. And if you want to find Igbos that are educated on this subject, go to the group of men and defenders. The Igbos are constituted of the 12 tribes of Israel. The Igbos are not made up of Gad alone. Only about 3-4 Igbo communities came from Gad. I am a Levite. My ancestors were Levitical from my mother and from my mother's side, and we did not have any connections to those communities, or we did not have any direct connections to those communities that came from Gad. We only know them as fellow Igbos. Those communities are not the communities that purify the land as the Lord God of Israel requested the Israelites to do when offenses like committing suicide take place. Those ones that came from God don't carry out this task. It is the Levites that do these tasks. They did not provide the traditional dibias of the Igbos. It was the Levites. My mother was Levine. My father was Levine. So I'm talking with authority. And my family, from my father's side, we have been judges for centuries. Judges because we are Levites. And we are still Levites as at 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, some Jews are working, some Igbos are working. I will not mention the name of some of these Jews that have burned the midnight oil. We are familiar with some of the Igbos. You can count me among some of them. But much more will come out in the days ahead. Thank you.